What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks.
I do have a media recommendation.
I love Lord of the Rings. Superheroes, movies, a little jack of all trades, I guess.
So what makes me a geek?
What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks, your weekly pop culture podcast from Central Michigan Life, where we discuss all things geek culture, which is like high culture, but better. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you follow the CM Life Instagram and Twitter pages for updates on the podcast, and look for us wherever you find your podcasts, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our website at www.cm-life.com. My name is Brendan Valentine, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me and my fellow co-hosts this week, who will introduce themselves in a second with our question of the week. This week's question is, if superheroes were real, and they were the heroes from the stories we all know and love, whose sidekick would you like to be? Me personally, I put a lot of thought into this. I'm like, I want to be the sidekick of a hero that, like, I think is like honorable, like a hero I like, but also the sidekick of a hero whose sidekicks don't famously die. So the first one that popped in my head was the Flash. Generally, it's the Flash himself that dies, and not his sidekick. However, then the sidekick becomes the Flash, and then they become the one more likely
And
to
then
die.
the process repeats.
And then the process repeats. But then they do tend to come back. So I feel like a sidekick for the Flash wouldn't be awful, but also I think it'd be cool to be a sidekick for Thor. Like not to be Asgardian, but like that would just be kind of cool. Because then like if I like am working with Thor, there's a point where I could become worthy of Mjolnir. Like if I'm like start to
Yeah.
like do a lot of Thor mirroring and like get some mentorship, then I could at one point wield the hammer. So that was my thought process. What about y'all?
Okay, no, those are both really good answers. My first thought, my first thought was Batman, and then I thought against it just because Batman has a very strict training regimen,
Also,
and
it's a requirement that you are an orphan.
yeah, an orphan. Depending on the costume, pants are optional. Sometimes it's just looks like underwear. Looking at you, Dick Grayson. But then I was trying to think. I was like, maybe someone that is a good guy, but also is I'm not going to be like that will be nice to me. And then I thought about John Jones, Martian Manhunter.
Yo,
I don't know if he's not usually the sidekick type. He does have his niece, right?
depending on the Miss Martian is usually his niece. However, in the CW Supergirl show, Miss Martian is his girlfriend.
Nice.
She is usually a white Martian in disguise, but like they're either related or she's his adoptive niece and he just says she
Yeah.
is. So
And so I think that'd be fun because you'd probably get to travel the galaxy. He'd have to find a way to transport you with him because he can just fly in space. And also you'd probably go on a lot of like undercover stuff because he usually shape shifts and disguises himself, and that'd be pretty fun. And then my next one would be I think it'd be really fun to be Spider-Man sidekick because he already is almost has like the side like he has like the just graduated from being a sidekick mentality most of the time, and so he's usually like super chill with like younger heroes and stuff, and I think that would be a really enjoyable time. Like if I messed
um
up, he wouldn't like smack me and be like, "You gotta like look out," blah blah blah. He'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna do better. You got this, bro."
unless you fall from a tower, then I would not love to be a Spider-Man affiliated person.
I get a jetpack.
Okay, but so far that position has been primarily female. So like Isaac is kind of in the clear.
Yeah.
But who's to say that this is solely gendered? Maybe it's just Spider-Man has a tendency to bring along his girlfriends to really dangerous missions, which is on Spider-Man, to be honest. Like,
To be
Also,
fair, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man tried to have Gwen Stacy stay home, but she was like, "Nope, I'm coming with you."
he should have just like
Right?
shot her to like
Whipped
the
her to a
wall.
wall. Yeah.
Yes, that's my thought. I was like, the moment he saw her there, he should have just been like, "All right, put her in the corner and web her there," and be like,
oh yeah,
"I'll be
cool. So
there."
the Green Goblin can just throw a bomb at her and she can't run away. Yeah,
Only if he notices that she's there.
he's the Green Goblin.
still.
Green Goblin is mostly focused on who he wants to fight.
Fine. I'd put her in a trash can and then web the top.
But you gotta poke holes in it so she has breathing. So moving on from that. Hi, I'm Hope. Let's see. So my first thought when you said like it's a nice hero, I was like, oh, so he doesn't want us to be the sidekick of anyone from the boys. Which
We
is fine.
could, in theory, be Homelander's sidekick. I mean, like, I don't know if I'd have a good time, but
Yep.
no, I want to be Black Noir's sidekick. That would actually be fun.
Maybe.
But so then I was thinking along the lines of the morally gray character, and I think I'd like to be Loki's sidekick or Druig's sidekick from Eternals. I don't know if Bucky fully has like status to have a sidekick yet. But then like if it was main hero, I kind of Lady Sif. I would love to be her sidekick.
Yeah, I just carry her sword and shield for her.
Yeah.
Like
here you go, my lady.
Yes.
Well, like she'd train you too, so like
yeah,
I get to learn sword fighting.
I could talk to her about how it feels to be like the only one of Thor's original friends that's still alive.
Oof.
Is she still? Oh, that's right. She is. Because the Warriors 3 died in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yep.
Broke my heart.
Yep.
Huh.
It's great. Yeah. Because then she'd also protect me instead of any of Thor's other friends, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the Warriors 3 aren't bad, but like
bad at fighting Hela, that's for sure.
Yeah, but Lady Sif, I don't know if she would have beaten Hela. She just wasn't there.
Yeah. It was actually because I think of it was an acting, like she had another movie she was filming at the time. Yeah. Which, if that's all it takes to save your character from dying.
I think it was the show Blind Spot that she was on.
I think you're correct, actually. Yeah.
Well, fun. Perfect. Well, thank you both very much. Now, to get things started, we always like to share some quick geek news from the Geekiverse, just to keep our fans and friends and family and other fellows updated. So, either of you, have you got anything fun, geeky, spontaneous, awesome for us today?
I have something geeky and spontaneous, maybe not too spontaneous. So for those who like Dungeons and Dragons, and or you don't have to like Dungeons and Dragons to like Critical Role, but Critical Role is a pretty famous D&D campaign that has been they film it, and it is a bunch of famous voice actors are the ones that are like they were friends and they started it at home, and then they started filming it. And it's got Matt Mercer, it's got all these other actors, Liam O'Brien, Sam Riegel. Any of these, all these actors have played tons of heroes and superheroes on any animated thing in video games. But in case you didn't know, they are releasing the Legend of Vox Machina, which is an animated TV series based on their first campaign. It's coming out on Amazon. And they just released a video today of the cast list for most of the characters. Because originally it was one guy, Matt Mercer, known for playing like McCree in Overwatch and a bunch of other stuff. But originally, like him being the DM, he played the voices for every single character that they interacted with, except for the main players. But they were like, we actually really wanted to get a bunch of other actors. And so they released this huge list and video about it. And they have people like, let's see, they got Stephanie Beatriz from like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She's going to play...
And Encanto.
Encanto, yeah. She's going to play...
In the Heights.
And in the Heights. She's going to play a character named Lady Kima, who, if you watched season 1 of Critical Role, of them, campaign 1, I mean, of Critical Role, she's this pretty badass halfling lady. They got Dominic Monaghan, who played the Hobbit Merry. He was also Charlie in Lost. And they also got David Tennant to play a character named General Krieg. They have a bunch of people. They have a bunch of actors and stuff that have all been tons of. Grey Griffin. I'm pretty sure Grey Griffin is the actress that plays Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh yes, she does so much.
She's so much. And like her little clip in the video is like, I always play villains, and I'm fine with playing another one.
Isn't she? She's also Azula in Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes, she's got like the perfect voice. Yep.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's just a bunch of actors, and I'm really excited for that because I've watched Matt Mercer physically like portray all these characters, and it's nice for female actors to play female characters and other stuff. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Instead of Matt Mercer just being
instead of
everyone.
Matt Mercer, which I love, he does a great job no matter what. He
Oh,
really gets you in the
but
mindset.
like getting it's nice. It's impressive when you have one voice actor doing multiple roles, but it's really fun when you get a lot of like people that you wouldn't expect coming together to voice these. It's
Yes,
just a fun experience.
yeah. Stephanie Beatriz surprised me the most. I'm like, what are you doing here?
Um,
But
do you have a favorite voice actor? Just like, oh, I should have saved that for another question of the week. But
oh man,
Dang.
like when you hear their voice, you're like, this is gonna be a good character.
oh man, there's so many. I notice now a lot of the people from Critical Role because they're in other stuff. Like Laura Bailey plays Serana in Skyrim, the vampire. But she also plays. I was playing Sims Medieval, and she plays one of the Sims voices in that. And it's funny because they speak Sims, so she's just going like "Gr Baloo, Fabu Namu," and I'm like, wait, that's Laura Bailey. I don't know if I could pick just one right now. There's so many good ones.
I mean, if I can pick a super like mainstream one, I mean, I guess not mainstream, but he's not always known for his voice acting. But it's got to be. Why am I blanking right now? I had the name and I
Mark
just
Hamill?
Mark Hamill.
Oh, Mark
Yes,
Hamill.
Mark
Yes.
Hamill, the Joker, Firelord Ozai,
Yep. Yep.
Trickster in
the
Flash?
Trickster.
Skips in regular show.
Yes. Heck, Darth Bane in Clone Wars. If you didn't know that, that was fun. But also I really like Matt Ryan. He's on screen. He's known for Constantine in the DC shows, the CW shows. But he
Yeah.
also, my favorite role of his voice acting, he played Edward Kenway in Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that was really fun.
What is it? Nolan North is the dude that plays like every action hero video game guy.
Is that the guy who voiced Desmond? Because he's also in a lot.
Probably. Uh, but I also once had a picture with
Nolan North, yeah.
Billy West. It is.
Hmm.
Look at that. But Billy West, who played Fry in Futurama and played the professor, I have a picture of myself with him that I took at Comic-Con. Anyways, geek news. Or Hope, do you have a favorite voice actor? I mean,
I don't. It's been a while since I've watched like animated things, so I'm just gonna go with Mark Hamill for right now because that's the only one I could
that's
think
an
of.
easy one. Punch in your answer.
Woo. Locked
Cool.
in.
All right, so is that me for Geek News? Or because I have a few things, but I don't think I'm going to beat out Hope today. Um, first things first, as you all know, I'm obsessed with Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's going to be the game that changes our generation. Um, most of the game, or not most of the game, but a lot of the game has been leaked now. A couple of people got early access to the game and released it on the internet,
Yeah.
and we got a lot of like first looks at a lot of new Pokemon sprites.
Some are
Hisui,
terrifying.
some are terrifying. A lot of people are like, "Ew, these are ugly. I don't like them." But like, I don't know. This is supposed to be the ancient Pokemon world, like Pokemon, not like evolution, like from Charmander to Charmeleon, but like the change, like Darwinian
The
evolution.
adaptations, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Haven't
they're doing
finished
to
yet.
Palkia. I don't know what they're doing to Palkia. And
People hate it. Honestly, I love it because it's like if Palkia went on RuPaul's Drag Race.
yeah,
Is how I see it.
they're
With
like
like, and
centaurs. It's weird.
I think it's so cool.
I do think it's cool.
I think that also might mean we get a different form for Arceus, um, which I think would be also very cool. But also Hisui and Typhlosion, Hisui and Samurott, and Hisui and
Yeah, Typhlosion
Decidueye.
looks so chill.
Dude, Typhlosion looks like he's baked.
They
Like,
I saw a thing and they said it's like people always complain that the 3D like uh figure for Typhlosion isn't blazed enough, like his fire's not on. They're like, oh, we'll make him blazed all right.
oh yeah. But that leak, also, I haven't seen anything yet, but I was talking actually with the editor of the podcast, Mike Gonzalez, today, and the player like Pokemon trainer versus Pokemon trainer battles are supposed to be like changing as well as the wild encounters. So I haven't seen anything like too detailed, but I'm also really excited for that. So lots of leaks. You can find it Nintendo's been trying to take a lot of them down, but the images are out there. You can find them online. I'm sure, heck, if you're on TikTok, you can find them. But also, where did it go? Oh, sorry, looking at my list. The Flash movie is getting a comic book prequel series that is like leading up to the movie. Confirmed on the cover, we're getting Ben Affleck's Batman, which has been confirmed to be in the movie, but like it looks like the storyline is he's mentoring Ezra Miller's Flash on how to take down Girder, which was a villain who was introduced in like a relatively recent, I think like early 2000s run of the Flash, but I think was portrayed on screen in Arrow, or maybe Flash first and then Arrow on the CW. So it's a three-part comic book series, one releasing every month leading to the November release date. So starting in August or September, we will be getting some Flash comics related directly to the movie. So some extra details about the DCEU. And then finally, today we got an official gameplay trailer of Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Oh my gosh. I'm talking a lot about Pokemon Legends Arceus, but this will probably also be a very close second for best game of the year. So just to give a little overview of what is mentioned in the gameplay trailer, you can start in the first movie of any of the trilogies. So you can start at Phantom Menace, you can start at A New Hope, you can start at Force Awakens. The gameplay itself, it looks like it will go beyond just like story missions. In a lot of like previous Lego games, especially the Lego Star Wars games, you're kind of stuck. You can be in Mos Eisley Cantina or you can be on a mission, and that's kind of it. There's not really an open world. They introduced that a little bit in like some of the newer Lego games, like Lego Marvel Superheroes and Lego Batman 3 had a kind of this open world concept. But the way it looks in this game is you have a whole galaxy map and can travel to individual planets that you unlock by doing the story missions. And once you finish the story missions, it's like, okay, there's even side quests, it seems, in the open world concept. So while there was an open world, like you could travel like New York City in Lego Marvel Superheroes, this seems like you have a lot more opportunity. It almost looks like a Lego RPG.
I'm okay with
Like
that.
it's not quite Skyrim level, I don't think, in terms of size, but like it looks like it's mimicking the whole idea of like, well, you could do the main mission or you can just screw around with side quests for a while. And like it's a big enough game that will take you a bit. There's also like an official like duck and cover, like you can cover behind things as a player with a blaster, and there's this true aim mechanic. It's not just shoot and hope it goes in the general direction, which includes a headshot mechanic. So like you will see like the stormtroopers and droids react to where you shoot them. So like it looks like a pretty involved game, and if it's really like this at release, this in depth as they're making it seem in this trailer, I'm happy they took the 2 years to delay the game to upgrade it to this. So we'll be getting this at release. There's also going to be in-space dogfights on your way to planets, so you'll be able to unlock ships and do things like that. So it's not just the planets, but also there's an open world kind of in space. There's like I said, there's more than just a story mode. It seems like you can go back and forth between story and that. There's over 300 unlockable characters, with more unlockable with like a pre-order or deluxe edition. And potentially, they didn't say this in the trailer, but there might be DLC, because there's been rumors that they will include the stories told in Rogue One and Solo. Potentially also Mandalorian. I'm hoping, because there was the Lego Star Wars 3, The Clone Wars, that was modeled after the series. I'm hoping they might add that in there, or might have elements of that. Like it goes beyond the movies. Like there was a clip in the trailer of like Mace Windu on killing like Geonosians on what's it called, Geonosis, in like in Attack of the Clones, that like doesn't look like an area of Geonosis we were in before. So it could be that. But we also got from this trailer an official release date of April 5th, 2022. So it's not far away.
Yeah, not at all.
However, the most exciting news from this is that Lego seems to be going back to its old roots with a new mode, because a lot of people got upset that the Lego minifigures in the game started to talk, because it used to just be the mumble, like whoop. There will be a mumble mode in the game that allows you to take the dialogue out and just play with the mumbles.
Interesting.
which is very fun for someone who played the old Lego games.
Yeah. I
So-
love that. Because yeah. That's beautiful.
They show the Luke I'm your father clip in the mumble mode. And it's gold. You got to go watch the trailer on YouTube. It's when he says Luke I'm your father, it's and then Luke just goes and then just himself off. So,
Wow.
it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
Hope.
yeah. Well, first off, I'm surprised that Isaac didn't take this one since I sent him the link.
I thought you might say it. That's why.
No, you are the Lord of the Rings person, not me.
Did you hear that, Isaac? You are the Lord of the Rings.
Hey.
I said person.
I'm Sauron. Spoiler. He's the Lord of the Rings.
Mhm.
Not Frodo.
Anyways, for those of you who are keeping track of the Lord of the Rings Amazon series, it has an official title and a release date now. The official title is The Rings of Power, and it'll premiere on September 2nd, 2022. It says 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, the studio teased in its announcement video. 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie.
Mhm.
So there you go. I have no idea what that means.
Is Lord of the Rings in public domain?
Not
Or-
yet.
Not yet. How much longer do we have for that?
Well, it depends on if they renew the copyright stuff too.
I mean, there's a point where you can't. Like things that, like this year, Winnie the Pooh and H.P. Lovecraft's stuff enter public domain.
It goes into the public domain January 1st, 2050.
No, it's really that far away? Oh, I thought it would be like 10 years max.
No,
Darn
I
it.
think because it came out 1954 was when the book was
Oh.
written.
So Hobbit was a little bit before that. So maybe we can do like, I don't know how copyright works, but that'd be fun.
Let me take a look. Hobbit 2032.
2032,
10
there we
years.
go. Oh, hello.
Although people are throwing around the like marketing license for it. Like that's
Mhm.
why Amazon's making it now. So
Yeah. Well, they still
Alright.
have exclusive rights.
So my next bit of geek news is Batman's reported runtime shows that it'll be the longest Batman movie ever, at coming under just under 3 hours long at 2 hours and 55 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Wow, that's longer than Endgame.
Yep. I'm
Wait,
waiting to
is
see
it longer
when it
than
gets
Endgame?
cut down. Isn't Endgame like 250 or something like that?
It's close. I don't think it hits the 3 hour mark, but
No. But I know that Endgame was originally going to be like 4 hours, so
well, Multiverse of Madness is supposedly supposed to hit the 3 hour mark. So
we're getting there.
damn, movies are going to be ruined because they're just trying to make them too long. I
mhm.
can't like I'm pushing it to hold it in for Endgame.
I don't know. I
Like,
mean, Lord of the Rings extended edition is like 3 hours something or other.
But was the extended edition released in theaters?
Fine. Theatrical edition. Let me take a look.
Is like 2:30, right?
It was.
Oh no, Avengers Endgame was 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay, so that's about as far as I can go. Avengers Endgame is I can do 3 hours, but then I really have to pee.
I mean, I usually have to about halfway through the movie, so
Do you think they'll start making movies like that, like intentionally, like halfway through the movie, like there's
As an
just going to be a
intermission?
point like where there's like a commercial break so people can pee?
maybe?
Like they used to.
I was gonna say, didn't they used to do that? But
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll see as they decide whether or not to make movies super long again or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the next bit of geek news, Daniel Radcliffe is going to be playing Weird Al Yankovic in a biopic of Weird Al Yankovic titled Weird, the Ali Yankovic story.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that because Daniel Radcliffe is awesome. And like there was a side-by-side comparison of Daniel Radcliffe and Weird Al Yankovic, and I was like, I see it. I see the similarities. I was like, are you sure you're not related? And then in Disney news, what is it? Let It Go has been replaced as the highest charting Disney animated song. It has been replaced by Encanto's We Don't Talk About Bruno, which is also Disney's highest charting song since 1995.
And do you know what was the song in 1995?
I didn't look. I just saw
So
the title.
I know their highest charting song ever is A Whole New World
Yeah.
from Aladdin. And then Can You Feel the Love Tonight, I think was what it was in 95.
I think you're right. Yep. By Elton John.
It says You've Got a Friend in Me was Toy Story 1995.
Oh, okay. That also makes sense.
Let's see. So, wow, thank you for telling me 1995. That's what we were trying to figure out. A Whole New World hit number 1 in 1993. Elton John's Can You Feel the Love Tonight was 1994. And Pocahontas' soundtrack, Colors of the Wind, reached number 4 in 1995.
Got it.
So it's Pocahontas that actually it just beat out. And then my final bit of geek news, because we need to honor her memory. Our American Queen, Betty White. It was her birthday just 3 days ago when we were recording this on the 17th. And in honor of Betty White, there was the hashtag Betty White challenge, in which people were challenged to donate like at most, or like if you could, $5 to an animal charity or foundation. So the Orlando Animal Shelter received $50,000 in donations. And then the Michigan Animal Rescue League, or MARL, received over $17,000 in donations in honor of Betty White's birthday. And then also, I know that there was a baby penguin. I don't remember which zoo it was born at, but it is named Rose after her character on Golden Girls. And then there was a baby giraffe born on her birthday, and I don't know if they're naming it anything to do with her. But I think that was the San Diego Zoo was the giraffe. But so yeah, animals are benefiting right now because of Betty White's generosity and love for them during her lifetime is continuing on through people who love her and miss her. And yeah, I think that's really cool.
Awesome.
That's all my geek news.
Well, thank you very much, Hope. Now, let us get on to our major topic of the day. For those of you who have not been living under a rock for the past month or so, Marvel finished out their cinematic year strong with Spider-Man: No Way Home back in December. All of us have seen it, and if you haven't seen it, I would say spoilers, but there were already spoilers with Hope's background if you're watching on video. So spoilers for Spider-Man: No Way Home and really any of the Marvel projects from 2021 and before, because that is what we kind of wanted to focus on, because we were on break, we never really got to focus on No Way Home. So we're gonna give our thoughts on it now, and really all of 2021, because like I've said it before, looking back at 2021, I call it the year of Marvel, because it is the year we've gotten the most Marvel content, after 2020, which we got no Marvel content. So first things first, that statement, the year of Marvel. I was looking through like what Marvel released in every year, and obviously like content wise, like in terms of quantity, 2021 is clearly the winner. The closest that it came before that was 2018 and 2017 tied, well, and 2019 tied with 3 movies each. So
Okay.
even if we don't count the shows, 2021 beats it out because they had 4 films.
Yeah.
So do you think 2021 is the best Marvel year? It's not just because of the quantity, but also like because of that, or do you think there is a better year? I will put up as contenders 2017, which was Spider-Man Homecoming, um, Thor Ragnarok, and the movie that came in between them.
That's
I had it
helpful.
pulled up.
I didn't realize that Marvel had a movie called the movie that was in between them.
Oh, yes. No, yeah, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is 2017. That came before Spider-Man Homecoming. And then 2018 was Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I will put those up as contenders, but I want to see what y'all think.
Oh
Personally,
man.
I don't know. I think Homecoming and Ragnarok were strong, especially Ragnarok. But I think like if we're including the shows, like I think WandaVision was a really strong show. Um, I think both Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki would have been a lot stronger had they been able to finish because of the pandemic. Um, but then also Shang-Chi and No Way Home, like those were super strong, both of them together. So I'm going with 2021 was their best year.
Nice. What about you, Isaac?
Um, I did really like the year of Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because those are just some of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. Um, but I do like just I'm not to sound like a broken record with you guys, but I did like 2021. I liked that we got so many different things and it gave me something to look forward to after each one. I was like, all right, like the next one's just around the corner. And then it was like the next one's just around the corner. And that was really nice instead of having to wait like all year for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Although the year of Endgame was pretty awesome too.
2019. Only reason I didn't put that up there is because there's a lot of critics of both Captain Marvel and Far From Home.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which also I weirdly on my TikTok have been getting quite a bit of Endgame slander recently. Like people like ranking the MCU and putting like Endgame in the bottom five,
I don't know. Well, I mean,
and
I
I'm
like
like,
because Infinity War was so good, and
well,
then it was
that's the
waiting for
thing.
Endgame was like, oh my gosh.
And Endgame, I still feel is like undisputably as not like as a film, but as the best piece of Marvel media is Endgame. Like, it's like if you followed all the movies and got to that point, that was so exciting. Even if like, despite the plot holes, despite like some like people didn't like love all of the character arcs, it's the culmination of like this whole decade of just a lot of effort put in by people. And I feel like you can argue with me on this one too, but like I feel like Endgame is like the pinnacle of MCU, at least
Mhm.
like that whole phase, everything that came before it. And I don't know
Yeah,
if we're going to be able to get something like that again.
I think
But
it'll depend on if we get a movie that's like the first Avengers that set up the team.
mhm.
Because like right now we've mostly been individual movies and like individual characters, but and we've teased teams or like bringing them together as a team, but we haven't actually had that movie yet. And so I think it'll depend on the next team Avengers movie and what happens with that will depend on if we get another Endgame type film in the MCU or not. Because Endgame was definitely like let's finish off these characters and continue on to the new ones and like show off the new ones.
And also like the stake in Endgame was like so high too. Like the
Mhm.
fact that half of the universe was gone, and then you're like, they got that back. It's like, what are they gonna do with like Kang or whoever the next? I mean, Galactus is a pretty big threat that they could all come together for, but
I've heard given Eternals the next like big like universal threat would be a celestial war. Like either a war against the Celestials or a war between Celestials that the Avengers get dragged into.
okay.
Um, I don't know. I feel like that's really, really, really big. I don't know if that might be too big because I think, like you said, Hope, like we can't reset back to that like original team thing. Um, like I would have put 2012 in as a contender, but the only film that released that year was Avengers. And if I'm going by how I felt at the end of the year, not knowing what was coming next, I'd probably um I might put either 2017 or 2012.
Mhm.
Maybe even 2014 because Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier came out that year. I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm so hyped. This is like the best it's ever going to get. And at this point, like I'm like I just expect greatness from Marvel, which is dangerous. But yeah, so Marvel, I'd say yeah, absolutely 2021. Even if we're taking away like the heck, if we take away the shows which other years didn't have, and take away the idea of like pure quantity, I did really like 2021. Black Widow was a good like origin story for Widow. Shang-Chi was really good, like just to introduce that character into the universe, and was good as a solo film. And if you've watched our episode on Eternals, you know that I think Eternals is one of the best Marvel movies ever made. Um, however, I think the best movie of the year and another like Avengers Endgame level movie is Spider-Man No Way Home. Best movie of the trilogy, arguably one of the best Spider-Man movies ever made. Um, what were you guys' reactions? What did you like the most about Endgame? I know there's the classic scenes, but was there any like little like details, things you liked the most, little niche things?
Um, Niche things I liked the most. Every scene with Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
So the
Oh,
one
yeah.
scene,
Yeah.
yeah. I was with a group of people that didn't know that he was Daredevil, and he pops up on screen, and I was like, "Oh, no way!" I was not expecting him to show up, especially not that early if he was going to. Um, and then I was like, "No way they did this!" And then people were like, "Why? Who's that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's Daredevil." They're like, "What?" And then he catches the brick, and they're
When
like,
he caught the brick, oh my gosh. I was the only one that like screamed in the theater.
"I know."
Yeah.
I saw it 2 days after release, so I didn't get the big screaming crowds, but I did get a couple people that were like, "Yo, that's Daredevil."
I'm a really
I
good
I'm
think
a
lawyer.
really good lawyer.
the best thing about that scene was just like everyone's face and reaction to him catching it was like so perfect because like it looked like the actors themselves forgot that he wasn't actually, or that he wasn't actually blind. The actor wasn't actually blind. They were like had that great of reactions. But I think Tom Holland's was best because he's just like, wait, what's going on?
Because he
Like,
was about to do it. He was,
yeah.
yeah.
The fun part about that I didn't remember is John Favreau was actually in the 2004 Daredevil movie,
That's Foggy
with
Nelson.
as Foggy Nelson with Ben Affleck. So I was like, oh, I think that's funny that the new Daredevil and like the character from the old one, or the actor that played an important character in Daredevil's mythos, like interacted on screen. I thought that was fun.
I I think my favorite part was when they were in the lab creating like
Yeah.
the traps or like cures for all the villains, and Ned just goes, Peter, and they're all just like, which one? And then he's like trying to figure out how to say, and I'm like, okay, how many times did he say like the actual actor's name or something, like to try and say it? But also my dad and I
Andrew,
realized that Tobey Maguire is the only American to play Spider-Man out of those three. He is also the only one with blue eyes. And well,
Ooh.
and the the web actually shoots out of his arms. But
I will
that
not
was
say
really
what TikTok calls that.
All right.
I don't know if I can say it on the pod. But I also like that TikTok trend.
I think the other part that was my favorite was when they were asking like, oh, have you ever, what was it? It was uh web blocked or something like that, where
Have you
like
forgotten like a web blockage? Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah, I think
or
that was
and then Peter One's line like, does it ever come out of anywhere else?
Also, the line of Andrew Garfield saying "I love you guys" was
Yeah.
totally imposed.
It's
Like
improv.
it
Yeah.
wasn't scripted.
And
I
they-
was just like,
They didn't
Ah!
reciprocate it. They just said, "Thank you."
Thanks. Oh, I
Oh,
love
man.
that.
Oh,
Go for it, Isaac.
okay. So I was definitely one of those people that when the Andrew Garfield movies came out, I like didn't enjoy them out of spite. I was like, oh, I'm not a fan of these, blah blah blah. I'm all for Tobey Maguire. 'Cause that's what I grew up on that. We all did. And then it actually took a few years after those movies where I actually really started to appreciate Andrew Garfield. Like The Social Network, uh, Dunkirk, not Dunkirk, Hacksaw Ridge, the movie Silence. And I like love Andrew Garfield now, and he did such a good job in this movie, and like
I love
he's-
him as Spider-Man because he's so quippy. Like that the scene in the first movie where he's like messing with the robber, like in the back of the cop car, and then he webs him in the crotch. Like I love the Tobey Maguire movies, but like I prefer the Andrew Garfield movies, also mainly because of the comic book stories they pulled from. Like Death of Gwen Stacy is one of my favorite Spider-Man comics. It's not one of my favorites, like in the sense that I like to watch Gwen Stacy die, but like that was historically really important and a really heavy hitter. So
yeah. And then Alfred Molina, like he was always like Spider-Man 2 of the Tobey Maguire movies was the best one. And I always liked him. Like in that movie originally, like in the end, he's like, I'm not gonna die a monster, and he like willingly takes it down. He did such a good job in this movie. And I just like loved
I love the fact that like there was that moment that everyone thought he was turning villain and then he was good again, but then everyone thought he was turning villain again because he was like the power of the sun right in the palm of your hand, and you're just like, don't know that, don't do that.
it's like, okay, so for those of you who are listening on audio, both Hope and I have had a cat in our lap in this episode. So it's like with cats. You see them about to do something, you're like, no, and then they look at you and you're like, no, and they're like, okay, not right now. But
yeah, my cat Loki in the Christmas tree, he knows not to go under it, but he'll still go there, and I'm like, Loki, because we have a spray bottle.
Yep.
And it's funny because my sister's cat hisses at the spray bottle, but Loki, you just have to get up and he runs down the hallway. He's like, nope, not today.
That's my cat. She's allowed to go under the tree. She's just not allowed to knock off the ornaments. Or I'll spray her. But she's so like, I'll spray her and she'll just like turn and look at me. And I'm like, you're not even affected.
I have to figure out what to do with our cat, because I'm doing a puzzle right now, and she really likes to get up onto the table and dig through the puzzle pieces, which is fine until I wake up in the morning and there's like 6 on the floor.
Tinfoil?
We put a like.
I tried that. It doesn't face her.
We put a blanket over top of the puzzle.
That might work.
Double-sided sticky tape too.
Oh, that's
we have that all over because my house still has an entertainment unit, and that's where my fish tank is sitting on top of, along with the TV. But my sister's youngest cat will try to go next to the fish tank still, so we put double-sided sticky tape, and we know when he's tried to go up there because there's little clumps of fur.
Also with Alfred Molina, Doc Ock, I keep seeing the video, and every time I see it pop up on like a video or something, I have to watch it through. But it's just it shows him and Tobey Maguire in the second one when he's like, "They heard you were brilliant, and they also told me you were lazy," and then he goes, "I'm trying to do better," and then in this one when Doc Ock finally sees Tobey, he's like, "You're all grown up. How are you?" And he goes, "Trying to do better," and it's like,
I love all those little line references. Those are awesome. All the memes they referred to. Something of a scientist myself.
Yeah. Also, so not just Alfred Molina, but William Dafoe.
That's like, my little thing.
His acting of just being able to go between the two, just completely flip the switch, and like you knew who was which.
Whether it was Norman or Goblin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it
so
was just
good.
Norman's on sabbatical, honey. I love that line.
Oh, when Peter was having Spidey-Senses and he didn't know
Yes.
from who.
yeah.
Ah, it was
But
Oh,
then
so
he
good.
like looked and like was finally able, because I wasn't it Doc Ock that was like, "What is it, Peter?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"It's you. It's
but
this,
yeah,
this."
that was one of my favorite things was the Green Goblin. I thought going in that obviously Alfred Molina did a great job, but I thought he was going to steal the show. But honestly, I think Willem Dafoe got it.
Yeah, no, Willem Dafoe was amazing.
Yes.
But one of the things that I appreciated that I feel like not everyone would get was all the weird like technical references to the Spider-Man PS4 game. Like some of the moves that Tom Holland did were like pulled from the game, like where when they're fighting in Happy's apartment, and like he like jumps above Green Goblin, shoots the webs at the ground, and then pulls himself into like to like take him down. That was a move pulled from the game. Obviously, that's probably been done before, but that's where I know it from. And then the end sequence where he has his new costume on the rooftop is also mirrors the one of the cutscenes from the Spider-Man PS4 game.
Yeah,
So I really like those details because it. I mean, this movie was truly like bringing the best of like the past, video media age of Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Um, so getting all the different Spider-Men, getting all the villains together.
But also they brought in a reference to Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales, with Electro at the end going, "You're nice enough and like you're handsome, you're pretty, but like, come on, I thought you would be a black kid." And I was like, "Yes,
Miles Morales,
yes,
it's potential out there.
yeah."
yeah.
I
There's a
also
chance he
like
could have been in there.
I mean, because they stopped asking for Peter Parker or
Yeah,
Spider-Man
Mhm.
after two. They're like, I guess we're just not going to do this anymore. So there's a potential that there were more Peters and more Spider-Men in
The
because like Miles would have known in like the Into the Spider-Verse universe that
yeah.
Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
More Aunt May's just showed up.
Yo, if Sally Fields would have come in after,
Yeah.
um,
the bread throwing,
Yeah,
Zendaya completely made up,
I
and I
saw
was
that.
like, that seems like such like one MJ thing, but like her MJ, but also a Zendaya thing of just being like, throw the bread. And just Andrew Garfield's reaction of just like, "What do you do? Stop throwing the bread at me!" What?
mhm.
Masterpiece.
Peter 3.
So do y'all think that there will be another, if Marvel can pull it off with Sony, another Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland?
Yes, I think they already said that it's in the works. Actually,
See,
Wait,
I think that's just conjecture and rumor.
wait, another Spider movie, like another Tom Holland Spider-Man movie,
Another
or
Tom
another?
yeah,
Holland Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
Obviously, they're gonna do more Spider-Man stuff, but like
aren't there
within
like
the MCU.
three more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland now?
I think so.
I feel like
Because,
those are just rumors.
You
but
think so?
see, the Russo brothers came out and said that the next Iron Man, the way that they were trying to do it and like set it up, was going to be Peter Parker, be Tom Holland, and like Tom Holland was going to be like the new face of Marvel and everything, like RDJ. And so I think that Marvel is going to give Tom Holland a break because he deserves it, and like he's also said that he wants to like take a break from stuff, especially after filming Uncharted. I think they're going to give him like a year, and they're going to be like, "All right, come on, let's go. We're going back to work." And I think that'll be when they bring everything together, like when they bring all the characters and everything to create that new team or to create the
Well, because
various groups. But
they forgot who Peter Parker is, but they didn't forget Spider-Man.
Yeah,
yeah,
So like obviously like the
Spider-Man.
fact that Spider-Man fought on Team Iron Man in the Civil War still a thing. They just don't no one knows who he is. And things like that. So it's possible for an Avengers team up still like nothing different. He's
yeah,
still kind of like a public face of the Avengers. They just don't know how to contact him because I'm sure in all their phones he's Peter Parker.
yeah.
And yeah, I hope we get an explanation as to like just how Strange's spell affected people because like MJ should have had pictures of him on her phone and wondered why. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if it, like, I
Like,
wonder
how
if,
much did it delete?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so like my thinking too with the end scene of him going into the coffee shop and like talking, like buying the coffee and everything, like the way that she was looking at him was like one of those like,
I know you, but I can't place it.
yeah, like there's that block, there's a wall that's blocking all the memories because she did say like before the spell happened, like if you don't tell me, I'm gonna figure it out anyways, and then I'm gonna be pissed because you made me figure it out. Um, so like I feel like her brain, just the way that it's wired to, like how she thinks and everything, like I think it's just a like a wall, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
I'd
she
like
also was wearing
it's
the Black Dahlia necklace in that scene.
yeah,
yeah, I think it's possible. I don't know that they will have her break through that like during the next movie.
yeah.
I don't know if I think that Ned and MJ will take a back seat if they do a fourth one with the intention of doing a fifth one. If they don't have the intention of doing a fifth one, then I think that they'll take the fourth one. But
Mhm.
also, if they do a fourth one, I really want Ned's promise to be broken and for him to become the Hobgoblin.
Oh.
It would hurt so
But
bad.
but if he doesn't remember who Peter is, then he's technically not breaking his promise.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
he
so
promised it to like Peter, knowing full well who Peter was and who that Peter was Spider-Man. So like if he becomes the Hobgoblin, he's technically not breaking the promise. You could find a little loophole.
I don't know. I feel like that would hurt just as bad as the ending of No Way Home to see that like betrayal, especially if Ned doesn't know it's a betrayal.
But
So
they might use it to make more feels.
yes, I could see it. But and I could see a whole nother trilogy, but I think we'll see him in a team up movie before we see him in a solo film.
Mhm.
But I do like the concept it sets up of just like he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like you can tell a simpler Spider-Man story because all of his movies have been big, like
Yeah.
relatively. Like he's Iron Man's in the first one, like he's going international in the second one, and he's going multi-dimensional in the third one.
Yeah.
So like he's been a pretty big deal. So I think a smaller story either with like Scorpion, Chameleon, or Kraven the Hunter, just as a villain, and then introducing like more like some of the classic characters too. Like if we get Norman or Harry Osborn in there, like this universes, I think would be a cool story given what Peter knows too.
Okay, so it's Multiverse of Madness that Vulture is supposed to be coming back, right?
I don't
Or is
know.
it Morbius?
It's Morbius.
Morbius,
He's in Morbius,
he's
which
Okay.
is
but
weird.
yeah, that's my thing. I think I think Morbius and Venom take place in Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe, given
That's my
everything we've
hope,
seen.
and I hope that they bring Andrew Garfield back.
Well,
Because
they're making a third movie for Andrew Garfield. They've said that he's coming back.
okay, that would be awesome too, because it would also
Yeah.
fit. Because you see in the Morbius trailer that picture of it says Spider-Man with like murderer tagged
Yeah.
over it, and we know Andrew says I went too far. That means Spider-Man killed someone and he got blacklisted for it, and that's still evident in Morbius's like day. And I think that we'll see Eddie Brock's Venom, which I think since that movie takes place in San Francisco in the trailer, I think that's Morbius trailer. I think that's what they're referring to, is
Well,
the incident in San Francisco, which is with the Venom symbiote.
could Morbius happen roughly the same time as Spider-Man No Way Home? Because
In
Spider-Man
theory, yeah.
No Way Home would be Tom Holland's Peter Parker is the murderer of Mysterio, and everyone having the
It's not Tom
posters.
Holland's Spider-Man costume though.
Okay.
It is either Tobey Maguire's or Andrew Garfield's. I can't tell because we only get it for a little bit, but my guess is it's Andrew Garfield's.
Okay.
So,
That makes more. But I mean,
but
if you cross universes, still like it could have been.
yeah, and with Multiverse of Madness, there's a lot. Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home, there's a lot of multiverse traversing. So like things can get mixed up in that way. But I think Morbius takes place in that universe. So, and Venom. But going back to just the general 2021 projects, did y'all have like a ranking of the stuff that came out? I can list everything that was there, and if you just have a top three, that works too. But so we had WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki season 1, Black Widow, Marvel's What If, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, Hawkeye, and Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh
Guys,
man,
I think
can
my
say that
secrets.
number one is definitely Spider-Man No Way Home for me.
I agree with you. Spider-Man
That
No Way Home.
and then after that is when it gets fuzzy.
Oh, it's a clear-cut number 2 for me as well, and that's WandaVision.
See, my number. I mean, part of it is just because I love Bucky / Sebastian Stan, but also like how they set up the partnership between Falcon, Sam, and Bucky, and like I'm still sitting here going, Kevin Feige, if you freaking kill him off again, you're gonna lose a bunch of people from the fandom, including myself. Now, I'll still watch Marvel, but I won't be as happy about it. I'll be like Isaac with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. But like I'm torn between Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier for number 2. Like I like WandaVision and everything, but to me the storyline, like if we're talking storylines and like how everything works out, Loki and then Falcon and Winter Soldier fit more with the like world storyline versus just, you know, her little section of Westview, New Jersey. And like I love WandaVision. Like I love that series, don't get me wrong. But I think in my brain, like the way that it's just ranking, like it technically doesn't fit in the ranking because of the storyline and how it's just so like pinpointed into one spot.
That's fair. All right, I did a brief ranking, but I didn't really think it. I kind of just typed it as I went. I think Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 2, I might say Loki. Number 3 would be Eternals. 4, Shang-Chi. 5, WandaVision. 6, Hawkeye. 7, What If. 8, Black Widow, and then 9, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Interesting, because okay, so mine's 1, Spider-Man No Way Home, 2, WandaVision, 3, Eternals, 4, Shang-Chi, 5, What If, 6, Hawkeye, 7, Black Widow, 8, Falcon Winter Soldier, 9, Loki.
You guys put Eternals so high, and I have it at the bottom of my list.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's what I figured Eternals was low for you, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna have some of our higher ups completely switch because, like I said, I loved Eternals.
I really liked Eternals. I liked it so much. I saw it with Brendan.
Yeah, we saw it at the same. I've watched it 3 times now. I watched Eternals more than I've watched Spider-Man No Way Home, which I have watched Eternals since it's come out on Disney Plus. But
no, I liked the Eternals. I liked it, and I liked Cersei and
Icarus, we
Cena.
gotta love Icarus, our king.
He redeemed himself.
King
I
of the-
do admit that, but like
No, he did not.
Did he?
Icarus did not redeem
No,
himself.
ish.
No, I'm
Ish.
glad he flew into the sun. I want him to stay dead, but he will not.
Can we
I
talk
mean, there
about how
might be- there might
Sprite
be a-
made up that story of
Yeah.
him flying too close to the sun, and how does he end his story?
I just watched a video that analyzed like more details from that movie, and like there are tons of shots where they always frame it so that the sun's right behind his head and causes a glare. And it's like 5 different shots throughout the whole movie. They keep showing Icarus with the sun right behind his head. And it's like, wow, as if that wasn't on the nose with his name.
No, since it's come out on Disney Plus, there's been a lot of people like analyzing the crap out of the movie. My favorite one has been that like the theory that like Fina has found out about the emergence before and tried to stop it, and that's why like she has mind weary.
See, and
Centauri
and
6.
like yeah, she definitely like when she killed the variant or deviant, that deviant or variant, which is it gonna be? But like that was definitely like her mind completely. She was able to control all of her memories and remember everything, which is I think why it also made her stronger. But I also love that what's his name? The celestial that they were following.
Tiamat.
Wait,
No,
no, the other one. Yeah,
it's not. It
Asherim?
starts with
that's
Ashram. Thank you. The Ashram was like, "Oh, I made it so that you can't evolve," and then we just watched the entire movie of his creatures evolving. But I don't. That movie just like left me a little bit more confused with things that it left like it's not okay. If I had to rank like certain geeky things, especially books, The Giver is at the absolute bottom of my list because it doesn't answer questions.
The Giver.
That's what makes it fun, is you get to answer the
No,
questions then.
Yeah,
no,
it's
because
a great book.
okay, just going with The Giver real quick. Lois Lowry wrote 2 sequels, and she doesn't answer anything and creates more questions. So I absolutely detest The Giver. Like I liked the movie because it
Oh,
left
see, I
out
get
some.
that way about the Maze Runner because like
Yeah,
it answers questions, but like in a way that like doesn't really answer. Like it answers the
yeah.
question in an unsatisfactory way that makes me think it's
Yeah,
not true.
Maze Runner wasn't as fun once they left the maze. Fun fact.
Scorch Trials were fine.
They were
Death Cure
fine,
was weird.
but
The Death Cure book was also weird.
I never
Just
saw
to
the movie.
all right, we can have
Scorch
a
Trials
book.
movie
We can have
wasn't good.
we can have a book episode later. All right.
but no, like Eternals, just like I liked the storyline, but also I was confused too because what I thought was going to happen from the trailer did not happen whatsoever in the movie. And then
What do
I
you think
was
was
just
going to
like,
happen?
That means it's good. It
yes and
subverted your
no.
expectations.
I don't like. I just got so confused, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, humanity is gonna die. That's great." We just survived Thanos' snap to come back and just be
You know my theory, right, Hope?
no.
That Thanos did the snap to stop the emergence, like
Oh
just stop the
no.
Celestials' plan.
Yeah.
He knew about it because that's his brother's Eros, and Eros knows about the emergence. So why wouldn't Thanos? But Thanos is a little bit psycho, so it was like, all right, I'm gonna end
But
half the life in the universe, so that emergencies can't happen anymore, and I end the Celestials' plan.
okay, but like the other thing that confuses the crap out of me, Thanos isn't technically an Eternal, but he is the
Oh,
brother of
so
Arrow.
so Thanos in the comics is an Eternal with a deviant gene,
Okay.
which they also looks like they might actually have Skrulls be related to deviants, and that's why they can shapeshift. Which means that, and also in the comics, Thanos and Eros were the only 2 naturally born Eternals. They were children of Eternals, which is why they're like not kind of like synthetic robots. They're like living, breathing. I mean, they're all living, breathing. And so my guess is that they're actually gonna play it off that he is like the child of an Eternal with deviant DNA in him as well. And so he's like his own unique thing, which is why he knows of it, everything that happened. And it's kind of like why he's so against overpopulation, because overpopulation is what caused
Well,
The emergence
the
on Titan.
emergence.
the other thing though is that Thanos in the comics, from what I remember from my Marvel class, was that Thanos was trying to like court death. Like
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that
no,
was in the comics.
he really had no interest in actually killing half the population. He was just trying to show Death how easy it was to impress her with his
yeah,
Infinity Gauntlet.
No, yeah, he
it's
wanted to bang Death. That's what in the
yeah.
comics. That's what happened.
And the best part is Death doesn't want to bang him. She wants to bang Deadpool.
Deadpool.
I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds.
And
Who
then
wouldn't
that was
want
like
to?
in the original, it was like Thanos cursed Deadpool to not die so he could never be with Death. So it was a really
Oh, it's actually a really fun
twisted.
storyline.
yeah. But no, I like all the questions that Eternals gave me because I like trying to think about what's gonna happen. Like okay, so for instance, we know that Nowhere is a celestial head, and there's celestials in this movie, and Dane Whitman is in this movie, and Dane Whitman has the all black necro sword, or not necro sword, the black sword or whatever it is.
Jon Snow, right? I'm making
Yes,
sure.
correct.
Okay.
And I'm like, why would those be together? And it's like, well, in the comics, Nowhere the Celestial got his head cut off by the all black necro sword, which is a different sword that an alien used. But I'm wondering if they're going to combine that sword with this black sword so that Dane Whitman has a sword that has the ability to kill
Celestials? That would be
And
really
so
cool.
I'm like, I don't know, I'm excited for it. And then,
Well,
See,
and that would make sense if he's going to team up with Blade.
yeah,
But like,
Two
here's the other
swords.
thing about Eternals. Like, you guys both have a ton of comic knowledge, which makes it good for you to be able to like fill in the blanks or try and fill in the blanks and like theorize like what's gonna happen. But like for me, I don't have as much comic knowledge. So I think that's part of it is like I can't theorize what's gonna happen.
See, I enjoy Googling the stuff that
Yeah.
left me confused afterwards. I know that's not for everyone, is a lot of people like to leave the theater being like, okay, the story's complete, or at least the story will be completed in the sequel. I'd like to fill in these blanks on my own, and I know it's not for everyone.
Yeah. But also like you don't necessarily know what questions to ask to try and fill in the blanks.
And that's what YouTube and CBR and IGN and all of them are for,
And other podcasts. Yeah.
including us. That's what we're
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
But
You know, I'm sure that there are people like all of us that because Eternals got mixed reviews, not just because Harry Styles fans went to go and try and see it just for Harry Styles and then got confused because they had no clue what was going on whatsoever.
He's great though. I love Star Fox.
Okay, but like also his hair looked red, and I'm like, your hair is not red in real life. It is very dark brown.
Yeah, but
So-
Eros has red hair, so it
Yep.
it makes
Like
sense.
that's not Harry Styles.
see, the Harry Styles fans that went to go see Eternals annoyed me because I sat near some of the theaters and I'm like, why are you here? Like, this is not a Harry Styles movie. He's in it for 3 minutes. Just watch the
Yeah.
clip on YouTube.
But you know, it's because they want to go support him. It's like Sebastian Stan's mom going and watching Black Panther because she thought that he was in it, and then left before his end credit scene. I got really annoyed because her son wasn't actually in it.
Oh,
But no, I mean I agree that Harry Styles fans can be very annoying.
Oh, it's not
Especially-
even that they can be annoying. They can love him all they want. I just don't. I'm here to enjoy the thing I like. Please don't ruin my experience.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But yeah, it was just like hearing some people talk in one of my classes last semester too, like when Eternals came out, and they were like, "But it's just because Harry Styles is in it." I'm like, "Then why are you going to see it?" Okay, just like he's not actually in it. You didn't know he was in it until last week.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
leave it alone.
I mean, that could be a ploy from Marvel to sell more tickets too. So
Also, as Brendan and I talked in our previous episode, Star Fox has a lot of he has an ability to change basically the hormones and sensual feelings of people to make them almost hit their pleasure spots and to like him. And because of that, the character has a lot of like allegations and sexual harassment cases against him often in the comics, or sometimes he gets accused of it and it's not that. And so we're like, they had to get someone that's like that people couldn't be mad at for being like a perv, and it's like
Oh yeah,
Harry Styles.
absolutely. Well,
'Cause-
and knowing that Marvel went to Harry Styles and was like, "So this thing, you can do it, right?" Like he didn't audition or anything. It was just there you
yeah,
go.
it was a good casting choice for sure.
He
Oh,
looks
yeah.
great.
But anyway, so that was 2021 Marvel. Now looking forward, 2022 Marvel, while having less planned for it, still looks like very exciting and very good, and has a lot of things that I'm looking forward to. So on the docket, let's say we've got Moon Knight, which just got a trailer release on the 30th of March. Shortly followed by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So Moon Knight. So what I've heard is the theory, it has not been confirmed yet, is that the Obi-Wan Kenobi series will be releasing on May the 4th. What sounds about right. So Moon Knight, if they take the like typical like Marvel show schedule, they'll release the first 2 episodes on March 30th, so that it's done by the end of April, and then after that, May 4th, we get Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then May 6th, we get Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So like March, April, May is going to be super fun.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
But then following that, we've got Thor: Love and Thunder in July, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, on November 11th, and then we have She-Hulk is the first show after Moon Knight, followed by Miss Marvel, and then hopefully Secret Invasion gets released this year. Fingers crossed that could have the same time slot that Hawkeye had this year. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special will be releasing in December of 2022. So,
And what if season 2 comes out this year?
is that
Supposedly.
confirmed?
According
Loki-
to the list that I have, it's coming out this year. But
Because I haven't heard that. I've also heard Loki season 2 is supposed to come out 2023 around the same time as Ant-Man Quantumania. But that also hasn't been confirmed. That's just speculation.
well, I'm sure it's easier to get people into a studio, like so they can like singularly record their voices for an animated show, and then just have the tech people go and create all the characters and stuff than it is to film with actual live people right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to what I'm most excited for. It is between two things: Thor: Love and Thunder and She-Hulk are my two.
Good choices, good choices. I will piggyback off that because my favorite is also Thor: Love and Thunder. Ever since seeing Ragnarok, I've been super excited for what was gonna follow after everything. I'm really like the vibes of Thor: Love and Thunder look so fun. Jane's gonna be back. Gore the God Butcher is gonna be in it, and he's the one that has the Necro sword that can kill things in the comics. So I'm curious to see what they do there. But he kills gods, and Thor's in that movie, and Thor's a god. So, but
That's dangerous.
I'm pretty excited for that.
Well, also Hercules is supposed to be in this movie, so
Yeah,
of the comic Hercules, which is really darn close to the Greek mythological character.
Disney Hercules actually is going to be in it.
Oh yes, it's the
I was gonna-
animated version.
I was gonna say technically the Greek version is Heracles. It's the
The
Roman
Roman
version that's
version
Hercules. So
Hercules.
Yes. So I was a little conflicted on choosing what I'm looking forward to the most. I am looking forward to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but I have some drawbacks because of some of the things. Like I feel like Multiverse of Madness is where Marvel is trying to one up Endgame, and I don't know if that can be done. Like I think you can. It's completely possible to make a better movie than Endgame. However, like by one upping Endgame, I mean like they're trying to put more characters in, trying to do more like crazy big stuff, and I feel like it's dangerous. Obviously, it can be exceptional. I had the same fears for Spider-Man: No Way Home, and they pulled that off without a cinch. Um, so yeah, Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness is probably the movie I'm most excited for, and just the piece I'm most excited for. It was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, but after the death of Chadwick Boseman and the controversy surrounding Letitia Wright and her injuries, and then conflicts with the production team, I need a little more information before I get as excited about that as I was before. But then I'm really excited for the Miss Marvel TV show. After seeing like the like interviews with who they cast as Kamala Khan, I
Yeah,
really like Miss Marvel, especially like the Kamala Khan version. Because have either of you played Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix? They did her character a lot of justice in the game. I thought it was really fun, and I want to see that in a TV show. And I really want to see the visual effects they use for her powers.
yeah, I'm curious about that.
And I mean, I'm also excited for the Marvels that's coming out in 2023, but that's going to be her and Carol interacting. So I'm excited because that's a fun comic book dynamic like that we see on the page, and I'm excited to see that play out on the big screen.
in response to you being excited about Black Panther, so there were a couple different things that I've seen come out. So one being that Chadwick Boseman's brother wants him to be recast because he thinks that it'll, um, like his brother would have wanted Chadwick Boseman would have wanted T'Challa to be recast, but also like that there they could do a storyline of like, oh, T'Challa has a kid that he doesn't know about, and that kid is like, I want to find my dad, and comes to Wakanda and ends up becoming Black Panther.
See, if that is what like Chadwick Boseman's brother has said, like I feel like Marvel can take that into consideration. But I think for this film, what I've been hearing is that they might put M'Baku as the Black Panther,
Baku.
and I think that'd be a good choice. Like they gave him character development throughout the first Black Panther movie.
Right.
He was in Infinity War and Endgame, and since both Shuri and T'Challa got dusted, someone would have had to step up and be the leader of Wakanda in that 5 years. someone to coordinate with the Avengers, someone to, be the lead diplomat, like someone to be the Black Panther and the King of Wakanda. And I think M'Baku was the only person besides Okoye, and I don't know if
Okoye, yeah.
Okoye, as the leader of the Dora Milaje, can do that. So I think M'Baku as Black Panther would work, would not be upset with Okoye taking the mantle of Black Panther, who also has enough character development, and it might make sense given both the scenes we've gotten in Shang-Chi and in Endgame that Okoye seems to be the liaison to the Avengers from Wakanda, not M'Baku. So I think they could just give M'Baku a stronger role and have him kind of like step in, not as the leader of the Dora Milaje, but as like an advisor to Okoye as the Black Panther, and just say, Shuri's off doing other things, and T'Challa, after being dusted, took like a journey of self-discovery and just isn't in Wakanda right now. Like you can play it off that way, and then you can delay the idea of T'Challa not being there anymore, and the decision to recast T'Challa for a later film later in the MCU, if there is that controversy. So
the other thing with recasting Black Panther is, like, Marvel said that they weren't going to do it in Earth 616 or whatever that they are currently operating in. But like, if you break the multiverse,
there could be
with
another
Doctor
T'Challa.
Strange, they could technically recast that way too, and just keep him on the main Earth, whichever it is. But
yeah, and I don't think they do that. Like T'Challa having a son, like happens in the comics, or having Isaac. Do you remember? Does he have a son or a daughter?
I don't know off the top of my head. I know that a lot of different comics, he does different stuff.
Yeah,
She marries Storm in the comics, which is
Mhm.
a power couple, if you ask me.
Hell yeah. But I think just given what we know about this, like that universe is T'Challa, I think he'd be too young to have a child that would be old enough, even after like the 5 years of the blip, to be the Black Panther.
Also, you saw how awkward he was trying to talk to the girl he had a crush on. You know that he's not gonna
get a drunk T'Challa, maybe he'd have a more.
It's a little more suave.
We haven't seen her since Black Panther either.
No, we haven't.
The spy girl, whose name escapes me.
Nakia?
Yeah. Nakia?
I believe so.
Yeah.
She was the one in charge of like taking care of the flowers, right? That like created the Black Panther or whatever.
No.
No, she was in charge of like undercover.
She was not a part of like the Wakandan society at the beginning of Black Panther. She had gone off on her own, and T'Challa brought her back for his dad's funeral.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think so. So that's my thoughts on 2022. What did you think of the Moon Knight trailer?
I'm so excited for the Moon Knight trailer. I love Oscar Isaac, but also I love Moonlight. Moonlight by A24 Productions is a fantastic movie. It is rated R though, so. But no, Moon Knight. I'm like, he's such a great character, and I love that they're gonna follow. It's gonna be a very like mental, psychological stuff going on because in the comics, Moon Knight often has multiple personalities, and it looks like that's what they're probably gonna go here, like just based on the stuff in the trailer, like that he has, because he says he doesn't know the difference between dreaming and being awake, and it's probably because he has different personalities, and when one's under, it's like he's dreaming, and then when he comes back, and so that's my take, but I'm super excited. The costume, it looks very Egyptian, and I'm all right with that.
I'm very excited for the TV show. I'm excited. It looks weirdly dark. Like I don't know.
Yes.
2022's
the moon
projects
only comes out at night.
Well, you know what I mean. Like you had like the winter mission. You had the night mission at the beginning of Winter Soldier. That doesn't look dark. That just looks like an action scene. This looks like it might be like. I mean, same with the trailer for Multiverse of Madness. It happens during the daytime with Wanda, but that still seems like sinister. So I'm getting a lot of these darker vibes for the first half of 2022 Marvel, and I'm kind of digging it.
Well, I mean,
we're growing up with our franchise.
Yeah, think about Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, you could, if you wanted to go with different things, but like depending on when you saw it too, if you saw that at the beginning of this year instead of in December of last year, if you're not good at remembering dates like me, that you're thinking of, that if No Way Home was a 2022, if I could finish saying this sentence, wow, that like it was already a darker theme with the whole Peter Parker having to say no, erase the memory of everyone knowing me, and like May dying, with how dark that was too. And yeah, I would say that honestly, Spider-Man No Way Home probably started off the darkness, really. So it makes sense if like they continue it through the beginning of 2022 and then start to make it a little lighter. But
But yeah, I definitely think like, and they Isaac, like you said, of about like his having multiple personalities in the comics, like that the mental health aspect of that is not like something that you toy with in like a light comedic, like you weren't going to talk about
Yeah.
schizophrenia or multiple personality disorder in Hawkeye, like
Yeah.
you
Merry
had Lucky the
Christmas.
pizza dog in Hawkeye, and Elena catching a bottle of hot sauce and going hi.
You want mac and cheese?
But like I don't know, I'm excited
Yeah.
for the tone shift, and I like how they reference the multiple personalities like by name, like the comic ones in the trailer. Both Stephen
Yeah.
Grant, which is his like weird like billionaire personality in the comics, I believe,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then
And then
Mark, who is
Mark
his original,
Spector.
yeah, Mark Spector, his original identity.
And
I
then
also find it interesting that they have Ethan Hawke, like
yeah.
a notable actor, but like also most people of our generation haven't really ever seen anything with Ethan Hawke in it, at least not to my knowledge. But like he's been in stuff, but he's not really like an actor of our generation or anything.
I
But
mean
he's
his
coming back.
yeah. Ethan Hawke, whose daughter is the girl in Stranger Things, season 3. But did you
Maya
see
Hawke.
that Maya Hawke? Yes, that the actor, the French actor Gaspard Ulliel just passed
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
yesterday.
It was a skiing
It was a
accident.
skiing accident, which sounds awful. But he was gonna play. Oh, I forgot who he was gonna play.
It was the rival of Moon
Yeah,
Knight,
and
right?
I mean, he filmed, I think, it already.
Yeah. He already filmed it.
Yeah,
But
Midnight Man.
yeah.
I just remember seeing him on a commercial for perfume, and I don't know, it's
That's
really
why
sad.
I know him.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was like, it sounded like it was a freak accident too, because I think the way that I read it is that he collided with another skier, and then just like the way that they collided had such traumatic brain injuries and stuff that even going to the hospital and being airlifted out, like it just.
Oh, that's really sad.
But to know that he's going to be part of a legacy though too
The
of
MCU.
Marvel, like he's in this legacy now, that's gonna,
Yeah.
like Heath
That's
Ledger.
always a weird situation though, like
Yeah.
posthumously releasing something that someone's been in after they've died. So,
Yep.
but one of the things that I've like kind of liked about Moon Knight, I've been a big Batman fan, but one of the issues I take with Batman is like he kind of takes this moral high ground, but like he just kind of beats up poor people for a living, because most of the goons he fights are not wealthy businessmen like Black Mask. It's the underlings that he's fighting and putting in the hospital, which is one of the problems with Batman. But while
Yeah.
Moon Knight is a vigilante, that's not Moon Knight's not like this big. Moon Knight, first of all, never claims to be morally upright at all.
No, he's cut someone's face off before.
Yeah, no, there's like so, but also Moon Knight always doesn't always go after the underlings either, because of this multiple like personality thing. He kind of shifts between like he doesn't do it on purpose as far as I understand the character, but like it just he kind of moves in between personalities as they best fit the situations he needs.
Yeah.
But I also love the imagery in the trailer that kind of mirrors like the Batman, like at the very end where he like leaps over the roof and you got the cape billowing and he's like going across. It's very cool.
Yeah. I'm so excited for it.
March 30th, not that far off. I honestly thought we were going to have to wait for summer for Moon Knight, but
it's going to help us through summer. to get to
Yes.
somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
to get to Doctor Strange, because I'm gonna be.
Also,
I guess I've got Book of Boba Fett right now, so I don't need something Marvel. But once that's done,
yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, Star Wars, no, not Jason Isaacs. That's the wrong person.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac has also been in, along with, X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah, he's played another Egyptian-based hero. He played
Yeah.
Apocalypse. Although that was a waste of Oscar Isaacs because he has a wonderful face, and they decided to cover it with a bunch of makeup. But I'm actually, what I really want is a team up of Blade, Black Knight, Dane Whitman, Moon Knight, and if possible, Daredevil. I think that would be one of the coolest team ups of all time. If not Daredevil, I understand, but like the other three, I feel like kind of make a lot of sense together.
Mhm.
If you put Daredevil in there, I think that would be such a cool
Daredevil would be weird, but I get why you put him in there. Just because his
yeah,
villains normally aren't like mythical the way that Blades, Black Knights, and does Black Knight have villains? Because he's been a villain.
yeah, he's got villains. They're usually King Arthur themed. Like how it always is. But yeah, he's been a villain, and he's also is a hero. And yeah, he's got villains.
Nice.
He's got comic strips. They're not as big.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Well, that's Marvel. Where I'm ready for it. I like where it's been. I like where it's going. So, as always here on Raving Geeks, we like to end with some recommendations for our viewers, whether that be movies, video games, comics, or anything else geeky. So, what have y'all got to share for us this week?
I'm gonna recommend the X-Men trilogy. That starts with First Class. It's a trilogy, yeah.
First Class, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix.
No, and then there's also
No,
Days of Future Past.
Days
So
of
it's
Future
actually four.
Past.
But I'm gonna recommend that just because Jason Isaacs, you can see him in the Marvel.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaacs.
Why do I keep saying Jason?
Jason Isaacs played Lucius Malfoy.
Lucius Malfoy, and also he played Hook.
And he also played General Zhao in
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Airbender.
Yeah. Oscar Isaacs as Apocalypse and like being a villain and everything. Like he did, honestly, even though they covered up his face, they pulled a Hayden Christensen with as Darth Vader. But he does a really good job with it, and like he's a phenomenal actor. But I feel like you also, if you haven't seen the movies prior to that one, you might be a little bit confused as to what's happening in that X-Men universe. So that's why I say watch them, those four, in order. So yeah, those are mine.
My recommendations, of course, I'm gonna recommend Critical Role, which I talked about in the opening. I've had a lot of downtime lately, and so I have been actually rewatching it. It's on YouTube. There's 3 campaigns, and like each episode is like 3 to 4 hours long. So it's a lot. And you can even listen to it. You don't have to watch it because they do such a good job. Matt does such a good job at being the DM and talking that he helps you visualize it. So I'll listen to it while I drive, as I drive back and forth to my internship in Saginaw. But I really like it, and it's really good. Like I said, 3 campaigns. They're currently doing the 3rd campaign. I'm watching the 1st campaign, and there's like 100 episodes. And 100 episodes, each one's like 4 hours long. It's a lot of content. It's a big world to get into, but it's really good. So that's what I recommend this week.
Nice. I have a couple recommendations. First one, if you've watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars and finish up season 5 and go like, hey, whatever happened to Darth Maul? There's a comic for that. It's called The Son of Dathomir. Highly recommend. There's a couple issues of it. It's really good. Of course, like anything that revolves around Maul. And it kind of shows what happens between season 5 and season 7 of Clone Wars. I also recommend, I'm currently watching Stargirl season 2 from the CW. It didn't get a whole lot of like great reviews, but I think it's been entertaining so far. Like again, probably not the best CW production, but like not the reason they're not breaking even, in my opinion. And then was that it? I think that was all. Yeah, that's all I've got to recommend today. So that's all we have for y'all today. Thank you for joining us here on Raving Geeks. Make sure you leave a comment wherever you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you, what we talked about today, what we were going to talk about in the future, and what we've talked about in the past. Whatever you want to shout out at us on, you can talk to us on social media, on Facebook or Twitter at Raving Geeks, as well as on TikTok. And as always, I've been Brendan Valentine alongside my fellow co-hosts.
Hope good, Earl.
And I'm Isaac Hunter, right here. That's me.
Stay geeky and have a great weeky, y'all. So long.
Adios.
Bye.